I was a sophomore in college. A friend said, hey, let's go wait in line for rent tickets early morning, 6 a.m. We're just gonna sit in front of a theater and get $20 tickets to a show no one had heard of. And sat next to Nicole.
And my friend Randy. And we talked for however many hours that was, because it was first come, first serves.
Yeah, it was a long day.
It was a long day. So that's where we first met.
That was the first meeting. And then we saw the show. Have a Nice Life.
Right. Because it was not the age that you could just like put somebody's stuff in your phone.
And then it's about a year and a half later, open call for Ragtime. And I walked in and saw you.
And we were both like, what are you doing here? You're not an actor. Why are you coming to an open call? And we were both like, there's so few black musicals, we had to go to the open call. So yeah.
Why not?
Neither of us made it.
We didn't exchange anything.
We're just like, hey, you're cool, bye.
Yeah. Then so the third time's the charm. So I'm going to be an intern at a general manager's office.
A Broadway general manager.
Show up Monday morning.
Walks around the corner and it's him.
And it's her.
Yeah.
My desk right next to yours.
That's right. For a year and a half. That's how we met.
That's the origin story.
So the office that we worked in was the general manager's office for all of Cameron Mackintosh's shows. So Cameron Mackintosh, Les Miserables, Phantom of the Opera, Miss Saigon, Cats, a bunch of other stuff. And the general management office is the office that like handles all the business, like the day-to-day, the actors, the investors, like all the business pieces. And because of that, we had a lot of access and insight to the inner workings of the day-to-day of a Broadway show. And we had a lot of questions about like, why is it done this way? And why is that allowed to happen? And shouldn't we maybe do it that way? But we were, you were the intern, I was in the, low on the totem pole. It's not like we had any decision-making power, but we were similarly interested in the inner workings of how the business went. And we also were really aware of, as Black people, that there weren't other Black people in other offices, and that the element of, like, I didn't have the language around all of those socio-economic and identity pieces that I do now, but I just knew we were unique. And then also our upbringing was unique. We both grew up in predominantly white neighborhoods and existences and schools and all this stuff. So we immediately bonded over that.
And we were plugged into that office in arenas and places, spaces that suited our talents. On day one, I was put into the numbers budgeting lane. And to see an Excel spreadsheet behind Les Mis, Phantom of the Opera, and on a daily see numbers, my brain was turned on immediately. And I remember you starting what today is now the digital interface of Broadway, you starting that inside of Cameron's office.
Yep.
As like, hey, we should be sharing all this information online every morning. It was totally new.
Yep.
And that's what you were doing. Like, we were just naturally put into lanes that were our talents.
Yep.
With similar backgrounds.
Yep.
In a crowd of people who were not like us. It was kind of playland. It was let's have fun. Let's just play.
We did a cabaret that we co-wrote together called Least Likely to Sing Gospel, which was about both of us growing up in mostly white spaces where we were the only Black people, and people would say, oh, well, you of course can sing the gospel part, right? And we were like, actually, we'd be least likely to sing gospel. We always had a running joke that was literally written into the script where we'd say, okay, well, this part, when we do it at Joe's Pub, there'll be a projection here of me when I was 4 wearing that costume, or when we do this on Broadway, there'll be a set piece that comes down and does X, Y, Z. So there's this way that we were always thinking about making content together that was relevant to who we were, where we'd come from, the experiences that we had in a unique frame, and doing that in a commercial way, in a bigger way, in a broader way. And we've been having a conversation off and on for 20 some years and talking about how might we get back to some of those conversations when we were 20.